Hey, it's Arthur again. I'd like to share a story with you. It was given to me a long time ago, actually many seasons ago, and approximately 4 years after I had sobered up and quit the drinking and the alcohol, um, drug syndrome. I had learned to become a responsible human being and not a fool, um, and started doing the things that I was supposed to be doing all along, but I ran away from them for many years. I even had elders tell me that. I go to powwows and they're always like, when you going to sober up? When you going to quit the drinking? And I always look at them, I can give you a truthful answer. I don't know. I can't say when. It may happen, it may not. I don't know, honestly. Well, then one day there was a thing that happened, and it was a spiritual thing that happened. And I ended up sober. I ended up learning how to deal with life on life's terms. I might not like things, but I've learned to accept what I can, change what I can, and move forward. This relates to one particular day. I was out walking in the Salamone Forest up in Wabash County, Indiana, and I happened to go down this steep hill because there was an island down below and I wanted to go check it out. So I went down there and I waded over to the island, walked out there on the stones actually, and walked down the island, and I came across some crow feathers. Well, I saw those and I started to bend down to pick them up, and I heard a voice call my name. And I'm like, I'm looking around trying to figure out, where's this coming from? Well, I look up on the hill and I don't see anything. And I'm like, okay, and I go and I finish picking up the feathers, and then I was thinking, I remember a brother that said that he would love to have a crow feather fan, so I managed to get all the wingtip pieces that I could, since the wings weren't intact anymore. So I picked up what I could for him and figured he would probably be talented enough that he could make a nice fan out of it. So as I finished picking them up and I started to walk forward again, I heard my voice being called, or my name being called again by that voice. And I'm like, I look back up the hill, I don't see anything. I'm thinking to myself, am I going cuckoo? This kind of stuff, this is not supposed to be happening. This is unreal. And I all of a sudden thought, my grandfather used to tell me things. And I remember one time he said that I would be periodically, at times in life, I would think I was going nuts because I would hear voices speak to me. I would see things in the darkness. And I thought he was just full of crap. But looking back upon that, he wasn't. Well, I heard this voice again call my name, and I thought, this is it. So I went and got myself back over across that little, from the island to the mainland, and I climbed up this one area that was like looks like somebody had been up and down that thing a few times. So I went back up to the top onto the trail, and I come backwards to where I first heard the voice. And I heard it to my right, and it called me again, and I looked over there, and this is an open area, and there's just one cedar tree that's standing there. And I looked at that tree, and I'm like, and then I'm looking beyond the tree, trying to see, you know, is there somebody out there? And I said, who is here? And the voice said, come over here. And it wasn't a strong voice. It wasn't an ordering voice. It was a very cordial voice. So I walked over there, and it said stop, and I stopped, and the tree was to my right and behind me, and I'm looking around, and it says you need to turn and look around behind you. And I looked behind me, and there's nothing back there. Then it said you need to just turn to your left just a little bit and stop. And maybe about 10 degrees or so. And so I turned that and I stopped, and I'm looking, and this cedar tree is right there in front of me. Though, you know, it's a large size tree, maybe about 24 inches across. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, are you what's talking to me? And the tree says yes. And I was like, now I know I'm losing my freaking mind. And the tree, it says, I want you to look at me, and I want you to pay close attention. I want you to look at me very closely and tell me what you see. So I look at the tree, and I'm looking in front of me, and I see a bunch of stuff going on with it, and I look up, and I'm checking it out, and then I'm standing there looking at the tree. Okay, what do you want to know? And the tree says, tell me what you see. I said, well, I see you don't have no bark. It's all been stripped off of you, so you're silver. And I see that you've got all kinds of scars on your skin from age and from people carving their initials, names in your skin. And I see you got broken branches up above. And you got broken branches laying on the ground down here. And the tree says, you're very observant. Now, do you see the branch above your head? And I look up there, and there's a branch up there. It's probably maybe 1.5 inches in diameter and about 2 feet long or so. And the end is split. And it says, I want you to jump up there, and I want you to break that off from me. And I'm like, I don't want to be a part of the problem. I don't want to be a part of what people have done to you. The tree says, there's nothing wrong with that. Jump up there and get that branch, because I don't need it no more. So I jumped up there, pulled that branch down, it popped off, and I'm standing there, and I said, well, what do you want me to do now? Because I threw it on the ground. And the tree says, pick it back up. So I picked it up, and I'm holding it. And the tree says, I want you to look at it real close. So I'm looking at this branch. I really feel stupid. But I feel kind of in shock, too. So I'm looking at this, and I'm like, excuse me. I said, what do you want? And the tree says, split it in half. So I took, excuse me, I took the 2 ends and I pulled it apart, and it split almost right straight down the middle. And I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing the color variations. And the tree is like, what do you see? And I said, well, I see this silvery edge out here. I see it gets a little darker there, and it goes all the way into a very good, rich red center. And the tree said, you're pretty observant. Now, let me share a lesson with you. And I'm like, okay. And the tree proceeded to say, you know, I may be old. I may have silver skin, close to being like a human being's silver hair. You know, I've got all kinds of scars on me. I've had my bones broken. I've had all kinds of bad things happen to me. But yet, I'm just like you, my little brother. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, you must always remember, from this day forth, we are all red on the inside. There's no color variation. We are all red on the inside. This is what Creator wants us to remember. And from that day forth, I've carried that story, and I've shared that story. I've shared it in Sacred Sweat Lodge. I've shared it in the prison circles. I share it wherever I possibly can. And now it's your turn to share that story from what the tree shared with me that I am now sharing with you. You have a good day. Thank you for listening. Aho.